I'd like to welcome everybody here today to our dedication of the Edward J. O'Donoghue Middle School. It's a great day for the town of Bridgewater, Rainham School District, the O'Donoghue family, and all of us gathered here to remember and honor OD. We have a great tradition in Bridgewater and Rainham of honoring great citizens and educators. Lily B. Merrill, Rainham's gracious lady, as she was called, a 40-year Rainham public servant. Dr. E. Joseph LaLiberty, Rainham school superintendent. William McElwain and Albert F. Hunt, leading citizens and friends of the Bridgewater Public Schools. Meredith G. Williams, a longtime principal of the old Bridgewater High School. And George Mitchell, about whom, if I started to talk, none of us would get out of here till Sunday. Okay, so we won't. Today, we get to add a name to that illustrious roster, Edward J. O'Donoghue. So you'll hear much more about OD from the people who knew him very well, from our other speakers. I'd just like to say he was Mr. BR before that contest was ever invented. A driving force to fully regionalize the district and its first full pre-K to 12 superintendent. A beloved leader who in 2001 had this building dedicated to him. Today, we gather together to formalize that dedication into a naming. The Edward J. O'Donoghue Middle School. I know I've gone on too long, but thank you all again for taking time out of your day to come here and honor OD. So without further ado, I'd just like to recognize a few folks here with us today in the audience. You'll hear about the speakers here later. We've got Pat Riley, Rainham Selectman, longtime rave volunteer, longtime Bridgewater Rainham School Committee member, and everything else you could do in Rainham, pretty much. Thank you for coming, Pat. And Mr. Buron out in the back there, the old athletic director from here, and a slightly successful football coach. and retired police chief from Bridgewater, Bill Ferrioli as well. Thank you for coming, Chief. Certainly appreciate it. Did I miss anybody that I see? Obviously, all of the former staff, current staff, administration, et cetera, who are here, all the folks who helped pull this off, certainly want to say a thank you to them. So, let me get on to introducing Mr. Perry from the Town Council. Our first speaker is Kevin Perry, lifelong Bridgewater resident, member of the Bridgewater Town Council, proud BR grad, and veteran of a few trips to Mr. O'Donoghue's office as a student. Oh wait, sorry, Kevin, you told me not to say that, didn't you? My bad. So here's Mr. Perry to welcome everyone on behalf of the town of Bridgewater and say a couple words.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, students, and members of the Bridgewater Rainham community. On behalf of the Bridgewater Town Council, it is my honor to welcome you all here today as we gather to honor a man whose dedication and leadership to the BR School District forever shaped the path of education in this community. Mr. Edward O'Donoghue was a teacher, assistant headmaster, and superintendent for the BR School District for over 25 years. In 2001, the BR School Committee dedicated the Bridgewater Middle School to Mr. O'Donoghue for his unwavering commitment to academic excellence and the growth and success of every BR student. However, an additional step was needed. I was asked by Mr. Fitzgibbons last year while I was president of the Town Council, and very happy to co-sponsor along with fellow Councilor Paul Murphy, the town order officially renaming the Bridgewater Middle School and former BR High School as I know it in his memory. And that is why we're all here today. I'd like to go ahead and read that order for you now. Whereas in 2024-2025, school year marks the 65th anniversary of the Bridgewater-Rainham Regional School District and the 30th anniversary of the district fully regionalizing pre-K through 12. And whereas in honor of this and to recognize a tremendous educator who was a driving force in creating BR as we see it today, the town council, at the request of the school committee, would like to rename the current Bridgewater Middle School the Edward J. O'Donohue Middle School. And whereas Mr. O'Donohue worked tirelessly at BR as a teacher, attendant supervisor, assistant headmaster, and superintendent, where he was instrumental in the influx of new technology to the school district, keeping BR on the leading edge of a new wave of education. And whereas the class of 1985 honored Mr. O'Donohue by dedicating their yearbook to him because of his ability to encourage them and make the best of their high school years. And whereas in 2001, the BR School Committee dedicated the Bridgewater Middle School to Mr. O'Donohue for always putting the educational needs of the children his highest priority. And whereas Mr. O'Donohue served a long and honorable career bringing together a school district and countless individuals and left his mark on the towns of Bridgewater and Rainham. Now therefore, because of Mr. O'Donohue's lifetime commitment to the educational excellence and the community, the town council votes to rename the Bridgewater Middle School the Edward J. O'Donohue Middle School. And that was the order that the town council passed. I had the privilege of being a student here at BR, as Mr. Fitzgibbons mentioned, while Mr. O'Donohue was the assistant headmaster. I also shared many classes and graduated with his daughter Diana and played football with his son EJ. So it was an honor and privilege for me, having these connections to the O'Donohue family, to be able to help this come to fruition here today. In recognizing Mr. O'Donohue's legacy to the BR School District, we do more than honor the man. We honor the values he instilled in all the students he supported and worked with over 25 years. Integrity, hard work and discipline, teamwork, and a fierce commitment to excellence, both in the classroom and in the weight room. We thank Mr. O'Donohue for his many years of service, his vision for education in this district, and his profound influence on the lives of so many students who walk through the halls of this school. And now his name and legacy will live on in this school, this community, and in the hearts and minds of all those who had the opportunity of working with him in the past, while also influencing the students that will continue to pass through these doors in the future. Thank you, OD. You will never be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Perry. We're next going to hear from Superintendent Powers, who occupies OD's seat, as I say, and welcome from him on behalf of the school district to everybody.
Thank you, Tim. Yes, it's true. He does remind me quite often that I am sitting in OD's seat. I'm not sure how many years I actually have to be here before maybe it'll be mine, but it is truly an honor to share that seat and that office with him. Good afternoon. I am Ryan Powers, the current superintendent of the Bridgewater-Rainham Regional School District. I want to welcome you here today to the renaming of the Bridgewater Middle School to the Edward J. O'Donohue Middle School. It's a proud moment for us, and it's my honor to stand before you at this podium, a podium that most likely Mr. O'Donohue stood at as well. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize the family and friends of the O'Donohue family and everyone in attendance, our elected officials, members of the faculty, Mr. Metropolis and Mr. Carroll, the current principal and assistant principal of the O'Donohue Middle School, and the many other guests in attendance. I proudly serve as the 11th superintendent of the Bridgewater-Rainham Regional School District. It's important for me and all future superintendents to recognize and acknowledge the strong foundation laid by those superintendents, including Mr. O'Donohue, that have come before us. No superintendent takes this position to have a building named after them. We take it because we hope to make a difference. We hope to change the outcomes in a positive way for the students of our communities. The fact that we sit here today speaks volumes to the positive impact that Mr. O'Donohue has had on the children of Bridgewater and Rainham. Clearly, he made a difference and changed the outcomes for his students. Without OD, there would not be the BR that we know today. It is an honor well deserved, and I'm proud, again, to share this position with him. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are going to be a real treat for you because they all worked closely with OD in one fashion or another. And our first one is Mr. Steve Heaslip, a longtime BR educator and administrator. And I just want to tell, I haven't cleared this with Steve. Steve tried to clear his speech with me. I just folded it up and said, say what you're going to say, Steve. So it's not well known, but this week marks the 60th wedding anniversary of Steve and Gloria, so we should give him a hand for that. And when I reached out to his son, Tim, and inquired about the possibility of him coming to speak at this ceremony, he said, oh, well, my dad's taking my mom away for their 60th anniversary, but I'll let him know. Steve changed his trip. All right? That's awesome. So, without further ado, Mr. Heaslip, come on up and say a couple words.
Thank you, Tim. Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome home, Marcia, Diana, EJ, Cheryl, and the entire O'Donohue family. We love you all. Edward J. O'Donohue, better known as OD, came to BR as a classroom teacher. He quickly established himself as an outstanding instructor, popular with students, and respected by our faculty. He was also an elite athlete, receiving national recognition for his performance in the track and field competition of hammer throwing. He brought his passion for athletics to our students, working with a great many of them in the weight room, making them bigger, stronger, faster, and they loved him for it. It did not take long for him to become an assistant headmaster. In that position, he was largely responsible for student behavior. He soon became concerned about the number of students who were dropping out of school and wanted to do something about it. This led to the creation of the alternative high school, allowing students who might not otherwise have received a diploma to get it in the night school. In 1989, he became the superintendent. And in that position, he faced many challenges. A lot of them had to do with the school budget. And his solution to that problem was of major influence to the communities. It was to take 3 school systems and put them together in one regional school district. The result of that was a significant increase in state funding for our towns, a major legacy on his part. For these and for many other reasons, Edward J. O'Donohue's name being attached to this building, where he worked so long, so hard, and accomplished so much, is a well-deserved honor. OD, thank you. Now if I can get out of here without falling.
Thank you, Mr. Heaslip. Our next speaker is going to be Dennis Rodriguez. Roddy's Bridgewater through and through. He cared very much about BR, very much about OD, and always about OD's kids first philosophy as an educational philosophy. As a teacher and coach, Roddy has literally impacted thousands of kids, and those kids have OD to thank for hiring him. Dennis.
Thank you, Tim. It's funny, I see Coach Bjorn here today. Coach, I'm better in the locker room than up here in the microphone, but I'll give it a shot. Okay, buddy. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a privilege to stand before you as we dedicate this wonderful school in honor of an extraordinary man. The Edward J. O'Donoghue Middle School is a symbol of our community's pledge to the children of Bridgewater. That vision was fostered throughout OD's life through his devotion to public education and sports. In his exceptional service as the first superintendent of Bridgewater Rainham Regional High School, Mrs. O'Donoghue also played a key role in her behind-the-scenes continuous support of OD's work for Bridgewater and Rainham families. There can be no doubt that while OD spent 15 hours a day on the job, Mrs. O'Donoghue kept a healthy, happy home for him and his children. Next to my father, OD was the most important man in my life. I met him in the summer of 1970 when I was 15 years old. He was weightlifting in a small weight room at West Bridgewater High School. And Mrs. Scotty Level was there and Eddie Zamitis, I'll never forget it. He was a young teacher. He was in the best shape of a man I've ever seen. It was like watching John Cena work out. He was just ripped. I was impressed, to say the least. The following year was my delight to find that God of a man had transferred to BR and would now be my teacher and my football coach. He became an instant mentor to me and all his students. As David Levy can contest, we were both in his science class. It was filled with learning, and he made it fun, interesting, and painless. He was the kind of teacher that every child hoped for, and the example I followed when I became an educator. He made us feel cared for, smart, and worthy of knowledge. He taught us, he coached, he trained us during the off season, constantly reminding that football and weightlifting meant little if we were not going to work hard, go to college, and continue our educations. I was not a stellar student, but he insisted I apply to college. Whew. He brought me and my father to my college interview. I was in a panic learning that I had to be questioned, but OD sat right by my side, and during the meeting, when I was unable to answer, he gently stepped in, offering a clear response. A week later, I received my acceptance letter to Dean Junior College. He helped me earn my first teaching position at BR as a proctor. Eventually, I left, but he rose through the ranks to become superintendent of schools, and after 12 years in business, he welcomed me back into teaching and coaching at BR, where he remained a mentor till the day he died. Mr. O'Donoghue left an incredible mark on me, but on our community also. His legacy will continue to inspire teachers, administration, and students to learn to read and write. But instead, in keeping with OD's values, it will be a place where dreams are nurtured and futures are shaped. Thank you.
Thank you, Roddy. And Imagine having that impact on someone over 50 years or more. And I think that gives you a real idea on why this school is being named for Mr. O'Donoghue. Our third speaker here, and the last before the family's speaker, is Arthur Wyman. You can't write the history of the Bridgewater Rainham School District and not include Arthur Wyman and his family. He was chairman of the school committee and worked along with OD when we went to fully regionalize the school district, and was a driving force behind that. Fun fact for folks who may not know, Mr. Wyman is honored here with a guidance library in this building named for him, and a portrait much like the one up front of Mr. Wyman is in that building. And I think it's fitting and proper that OD and Mr. Wyman will be linked forever going forward. So, Mr. Wyman, if you'd like to come up and say a few words.
Well, where to begin? I don't think I've ever written a formal speech in my life. I've given a few, but I don't think I've ever wrote one down. Masha, Diana, DJ, Cheryl, grandkids, your grandfather, your father, your husband was an incredible man. I never knew what to call this guy. You know, I don't know how many years I knew him. Masha would call him Jimmy. Somebody else would call him Ed. Somebody else would call him OD. I basically called him OD. First of all, this naming is long overdue. His name should have been up there when it was Bridgewater Rainham Regional High School. OD, first of all, was a friend. We had, I don't know how many breakfasts together, how many lunches together. I spent a few weekends in Jefferson, Maine with Masha and OD. And a little aside, he ended up moving in with an in-law apartment, I guess it was, with VJ and Cheryl. And he gave me the address. And I said, OD, Trask Road. He said, how do you know Trask Road? I said, I milk cows that came from Trask Road. This was a dairy farm. And, of course, at the time, we had a dairy farm until 1987. And the man's name that owned the dairy farm was Trask. So that was quite a coincidence. But when I think of OD, first thing that comes to mind is a true friend. Another thing is integrity. OD epitomized integrity. If you didn't have integrity, you didn't fit with OD. And Kevin and Tim alluded to the regionalization of pre-K through 12. Let me tell you, there was superintendents before OD that tried it. Couldn't get it done. But OD had a command at town meetings. He had respect. People believed what he said because he did what he said he would do. And he was loyal, which is another thing that OD had, was loyalty to the school, to the children, to his family. to his friends, there was nobody that was any more loyal than O.D. Another thing that comes to mind is honesty. That was synonymous with O.D. I mean, he was, I don't know, he's probably the most honest guy I ever met. And his family was everything to him. Marcia was everything to him. Grandchildren, now I don't know the other girl, but Elizabeth I heard a lot about. And he really, I mean, he really enjoyed the relationship he had with you kids in the school. And it was funny because it was a small school, I guess, and the superintendent had 3 or 4 schools under his district, and the secretary kind of ran the school. Well, that was an opening for O.D. So he made himself known and who he was and what his experience was. And she kind of ended up leaning on him, you know, to run the school, which he, you know, he really enjoyed. So anyway, I'm not going to stay up here much longer, but this town of Bridgewater, the town of Rainham, really owes a lot to O.D. for the way their children were educated when he was here, when it was under his leadership. We had one of the best districts in the state. Due to Steve Heaslip, we sent, I don't know, how many kids to the academies every year?
We sent 24 altogether.
24 altogether. And the thing was, with the kids that came out of BR, was the residual into a school that they went to. And that's something that colleges always look at, is students that come from certain schools, what's the residual percentage? We had it up here, it was the highest, one of the highest. So I can't thank O.D., Jim, Ed, whoever you are. I, for one, can say I loved you, and I'll never forget you. You'll be with me always. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wyman. That was awesome. Finally, on our program today, we're honored to have Senator Kelly Dooner, who represents Rainham, as part of her district here. Unfortunately, Bridgewater's Senator Bill Driscoll had another commitment and couldn't make it, but I believe she brings a proclamation from both of them. And unfortunately, Representative Gallagher from Bridgewater and Rainham is out of the country today, but his aide, Evan, is here to give a proclamation from the House. And so then, once they do that, we'll also call up Diana. She's been referenced a few times today. She drew the short straw, apparently, Diana, on speaking for the family. So we'll hear from her, then I'll give you some closing remarks, and we can adjourn inside to have some coffee and pastries. So Senator Dooner, Mr. Francis, Diana.
Good afternoon. My name's Kelly Dooner. I am the new senator for the 3rd Bristol and Plymouth District, representing Rainham. Senator Driscoll sends his regards. He's on a family vacation that they had planned, but he does wish that he could be here, and we have a citation. Before I give that to you guys, I kept hearing everybody talk about words that made them think of O.D. And though I didn't have the privilege of knowing him, the first thing that comes to my mind is courage. Because when you regionalize a school district, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not always the most popular thing to do, but sometimes it is the right thing to do. And it takes a lot of courage to do that. You have a lot of opinions coming at you. Everybody thinks that they know what should happen for the schools, what's best for the schools. But when I think of OD, I can only imagine the courage it took to really drive that home and get this school or these towns regionalized. And that trickles all the way up to the Senate. So I represent Rainham and Senator Driscoll represents Bridgewater. And because of what OD did with regionalizing, Bridgewater Rainham now has 2 senators up on Beacon Hill who are able to advocate for the school district. And courage is exactly what comes to mind when I think. And I do have a citation that I'll read to you guys quickly. Commonwealth of Massachusetts State Senate official citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Edward J. O'Donoghue in recognition of his leadership in regionalizing Bridgewater and Rainham and the dedication of the Edward J. O'Donoghue Middle School. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, and that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate, the Clerk of the Senate, myself, Senator Dooner, and Senator Bill Driscoll. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Evan Francis from Representative Dennis Gallagher's office. I apologize on behalf with the representative that he could not be here today to join us. This was a beautiful ceremony. The words that were spoken by the individuals before us were incredible. It seemed Mr. O'Donoghue was someone that this school district could really look up to and, have a mentor and have a friend, and someone who, like the senator said, was very courageous in the efforts to regionalize the school district, which my boss, Representative Gallagher, represents both towns. So, we're able to partner with the senators and continue that legacy of, providing funding for the schools and doing all we can to advocate for the Bridgewater Rainham Regional School District. So I also have a citation from the House of Representatives. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Edward J. O'Donoghue and the family of Edward J. O'Donoghue in recognition of the naming of the Bridgewater Middle School in his name for his years of service to the Bridgewater Rainham Regional School District. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all its endeavors. Given this 22nd day of August 2025 at the State House, signed by Speaker Ron Mariano and Representative Dennis C. Gallagher.
All right, I'm proceeding. Thank you so much. What the senator and Evan, the state rep, might not know is I did go to this high school, I did go to college, I did go to law school, and then I worked at the State House. So, anyway, there's another impact. So, good afternoon, everyone. So on behalf of my family, and especially my mother, Marcia, and my brother, EJ, we thank you for being here today for this special ceremony to honor my father. I still sometimes get emotional when talking about him, and that's the reason I took notes, because normally I don't. Talking about him. It is difficult to put into words what it means to see this school now named after him. For us, and I believe for many of you, after hearing the other speakers' memories and impressions of him, this is a lasting reminder of a man who dedicated his life to education and service, as well as to the whole community, his family, and friends. Many of you worked with him as an administrator, or were taught by him as a teacher, or were mentored or coached by him as students and athletes. As his family, we witnessed how important and passionate he was about serving in the best interests of the students first throughout his entire career. That mission had a much deeper meaning to him than just a job. He also shared his guiding life principles of hard work, integrity, which we've heard a few times already today, respect and kindness. He influenced and encouraged many students, and one of whom who could not be here today, former BR student and retired Bridgewater Police Captain Tom Schatz, has permitted me to share with you that my dad taught him life lessons at this school that have been the foundation of his life and that he has shared with his children. Lessons such as, there is never an excuse not to work your hardest, to work to make a difference and not for the applause, to be humble in victories and not to dwell on defeats, but to learn the lesson and adjust. And to remember, character is shown, not claimed or boasted about. I'm grateful to Tom for reminding me about my father's influence and guiding principles, which I've shared with my daughter as she begins her journey in high school this year. May those principles that guided Edward J. O'Donohue's life continue to guide the lives of the students who learn and grow in this building. Thank you all for keeping my father's spirit alive in your hearts, memories, and the stories we've heard today. Thank you to the BR School Committee, especially to Tim Fitzgibbons. Our thanks to the administration, town leaders, teachers, former students, and friends who worked to make this honor possible. My father would be humbled and proud in his heart to know that the future generations will be learning, growing, and inspired in this school that carries his name. My family thanks you all for recognizing his life's work here for almost 3 decades in such a meaningful way. We are forever grateful his legacy is being remembered. Thank you.
One thing I've learned in several years of public speaking is never stand between people and food. So I'm going to be real quick to close the remarks here. Thank you all for coming and taking time out of your day to come here and honor OD. I know that today's ceremony and speakers will leave a greater understanding, not just amongst you who knew him very well, but amongst the folks who watch on cable and see it on YouTube, about why this school is named for OD, and the stories you heard, and why, you know, it makes just so much sense to do it. And I just leave you all with this thought. Let's be rededicated and recommitted to OD's idea and philosophy of education, that if you always put the students first, you'll never go wrong. There's food inside, folks.